Who is the mysterious minifigure haunting the halls of Legoland Castle? What unfinished business keeps this specter tethered to the mortal realm? And what connections does it have to the wider Lego Castle story? As ever, Lego lore may hold the dark secrets you seek. But before we embark on our Halloween ghost story, I offer you this chilling challenge. Please remember to like and subscribe. In 1990, LEGO released the first supernatural minifigure in the world of Legoland Castle. By one account, 1,131,000 little LEGO ghosts were produced that year. This was only the first of many fantasy elements in the years to come, and it played a large part in the marketing of the time, making prominent appearances on the covers of catalogs, calendars, and comic book advertisements. In this memorable image, the ghost is seen frightening LEGO characters from across the whole range of themes, from pirates to space to town. But can we unravel the mystery of who inspires such fear among such disparate characters? Our first clue comes from the US name from the smallest set in which the ghost appeared, the 1990 Black Knight set 6034 Black Monarch's Ghost. This identifies the ghost as either a former king or else a spirit that somehow belongs to the current Black Monarch. It also ties the apparition back to 1988's 6085 Black Monarch's Castle, which, sure enough, can be seen behind the ghost on this moonlit night. The 1990 US catalog has this text expanding the ghost story. Beware of the Black Monarch's ghost. A ghost is guarding the shadowy corridors of the new King's Mountain Fortress. Can it stop the forestmen from entering the castle in search of gold? There are 6 new sets in the 12-item castle system. This gives a new twist to the legend of the Black Monarch's ghost. While it is clearly tied to the Black Knights, it is also the same ghost haunting the 6081 King's Mountain Fortress, a Crusader set. We see this scenario played out in the Adventures of Brick Buildmore comic in the winter 1990-1991 issue of Brick Kicks magazine. In the Mountain Fortress story, the Sheriff of Nottingham has hidden stolen gold in the King's Mountain Fortress and leaves the defense of the treasure up to the Black Monarch's ghost. Robrick Hood and Friar Comet sneak into the fortress, recover the treasure, and escape from the ghost, though he doesn't seem terribly committed to stopping them in this case. In fact, it seems like the ghost may be helping them find the stolen treasure. But this still begs the question, what is he doing guarding the treasure in another king's castle? We'll leave this mystery aside for the moment to cover some other elements of the ghost's legendary lore. The winter 1990 issue of the Netherlands LEGO Club newsletter explains that the dark gray bird seen in the 6034 set warns the ghost of anyone who approaches his lair. And its description of 6081 mentions the ghost appearing when the clock strikes 12. This element of the legend is consistent with the 1990 UK catalogs, which read, "It was a dark and stormy night. The luminous ghost appeared just as the old clock struck 12. Robin and his friends ran for their secret cave, while the knights secured the drawbridge and closed off the Black Fortress with its hinged walls. And yet, it was just a very friendly ghost. So perhaps the Black Monarch's ghost isn't as fearsome as his appearance suggests." The spring 1990 issues of the UK LEGO Club magazine Bricks and Pieces invited readers to submit a suitably ghoulish and ghostly name to suit our new LEGO ghost. The winners were published in the summer 1990 issue, with the winner being the name Loomy. Not a bad name for a luminescent spirit that looms out of the shadows. I think the runner-up Leghoul wasn't bad either. Possibly the scariest part of the contest was that while entrants were promised the new 6081 King's Mountain Fortress set, called Haunted Castle in the UK, they instead received a Technic crane. Talk about a bait and switch. But while all of these are interesting tidbits, none of this tells us who the Black Monarch was and why he haunts the Crusader Castle at midnight. But there is an answer to this mystery, though it was never published. This version of the ghost story touches on many of the castle factions and provides a deeper reason for his ghostly wanderings. Around 1992, the LEGO Group sought to expand their castle world to a wider fantasy kingdom, already called Sorrento. As part of this effort, they developed a genealogical table of factions and individuals. Among them was a humorous ghost named Shamrock, a spirit who was just as interested in, well, spirits and good food as he was haunting the castle. The table explains that Shamrock is the cousin of the king. Rumor has it that he haunts the area because people think he was behind the abduction of the old king's son, a son whose present location is unknown. Now we're getting somewhere. Reading between the lines, the unfinished business tormenting Shamrock is that many people in the kingdom believe that he was the mastermind behind kidnapping the king's son, and he died before the prince could be found, and his innocence proven. But while this part of the story never saw the light of day, there is a happy ending to the tale. Elements of this backstory were adapted in the second German castle audio drama from 1995, The King's Son. Here we learn that 15 years had passed since the abduction. While the king and queen had passed away in the original version of the story, the 1995 update uses King Richard from the Royal Knights theme, making Shamrock this king's cousin by extension. According to some copies of the September-October 1996 Mania magazine, the king is also a cousin of Dark Forest's Rob N. Hood, making all three characters related. In the course of the story, we learn that Prince Henry, Richard's son, was abducted by traitors to the crown. One of them, James, confesses his dark deed to the king moments before he dies, sending Richard on a quest to Tarenta to find his son. By the end of the story, we find out that young Henry had ended up in the forest by himself, having either been abandoned by or escaped from his captors. There he was found by the Great Wolf, an infamous wolf-pack bandit who raised him as his own adopted son, Dickens. While Shamrock's ghost doesn't play a part in the audio drama story as his son from the Tarenta genealogical table, Finnegan does appear in the audio as the Lord of the Black Knights, now loyal to King Richard. By combining these stories, we can finally reveal the tragic legend of the Black Monarch. It seems that he was Shamrock, ruler of the Black Knights and a cousin of the royal King Richard. A group of conspirators in Richard's own court abducted the prince, who was not returned to his father. As part of the royal family, Shamrock was implicated in the intrigue surrounding Richard's succession. Rumors swirled, and by the time the dust cleared, Shamrock had passed away, unable to prove his innocence. His son Finnegan was allowed to continue leading the Black Knights, but as a lord pledging fealty to King Richard. At midnight, when the clock strikes 12, Shamrock's ghost can be found roaming the corridors of the king's mountain fortress and beyond, a friendly spirit guarding the king's treasure, enjoying what food and drink he can, his only companion a gray bird. Those unaware of his friendly nature have dubbed this restless spirit Lumi. Perhaps his spirit could finally rest in peace after the truth behind the prince's abduction was revealed. Or perhaps, given the number of ghostly apparitions in Castle and themes beyond, this spooky spirit continues to haunt the dark corners of the LEGO world. Not all of these are the Black Monarch's ghost, but their stories will have to wait for another dark night. That's what we know about the mystery of the Black Monarch. But I'd love to hear about the adventures you created with your own LEGO ghosts. Let me know in the comments, don't forget to like and subscribe, and from the Black Monarch's ghost and myself, a very happy Halloween.